It's Montana White. We live at the world famous Patchwork. And I'm going to let my friend introduce himself. What we got going on?
Hey, I'm Cal 007. I'm here with the one and only Montana White. Had to come personally deliver his Volume 2 BMF Blueprint to Conspiracy. You know, we telling from the inside since 1985, day one. Y'all check in. Make sure you check out that interview. I just did a little drop. Gave him some insights and tidbits. Y'all see, you know what I mean?
Now, tell them how to find you, boss.
Hey, you can find me at Cal007W on IG. You can find the book at therealbmf.com.
That's right. Montana White. We live
Hey,
Patchwork. Come
not
on.
playing.
It's Montana White.
Hey.
We back live at Patchwork.
Hey.
I got Cal 007 with me. You know what I'm talking about? Author of one of the this American history right here. You feel me? This is American history right here. You feel me? So where was we at?
We was talking about BMF Entertainment.
BMF
what happened
Entertainment.
after the spread? After they got the spread, their star started to really shine.
Was this when the billboards went up?
This billboards went up after, and it was just like the light was on them, and
Right.
the industry was starting to take notice of them. You could not take notice. They had the streets on lock
Peep this.
completely.
Everybody know I was in the penitentiary when this was going down. I went in 97. I got out in 07, but I had just signed my deal with Too Short. Right? So I'm in prison, and I'm talking to a couple of homeboys, but I'm talking to Too Short brother. Wayne
Talking
Lowe.
about Wayne Lowe?
Yeah, Wayne Lowe. One time for
That's
Wayne
my
Lowe.
nigga,
My
one
nigga.
time.
Yo, I'm talking to Wayne Lowe. And this nigga Wayne Lowe, I'm in prison. You feel me? I just blew a whole fucking record deal. Show on album T, and he up. Eric Sherman up. This shit is up. I'm sitting in prison watching niggas on TV. I'm on the phone with Wayne Lowe on one of my collect calls. And Wayne Lowe say, nigga, well, I'm glad you ain't out here, because nigga, you'd have been running around with these fools so crazy. But then he say, man, these niggas is doing the impossible. They got billboards. They won Independent Record Label of the Year, and they ain't even got a fucking record out, nigga. What's going on, right? So, boom, I was in prison, and now niggas is coming off the street into the system in Georgia. And they're like, them BMF niggas. And I'm from the rim shop. So it ain't really no cameras, it ain't no magazines and shit yet, right? So I'm like, who the fuck is BMF? So I talked to a couple of, and they're like, MEECH, them niggas going crazy, right? So I'm in prison like, goddamn, I'm missing it. You feel me? So boom, all right. So the source came out, the music came out, the billboards came up, but what happened in that mix? Because we know it never really took off.
They had when the light got on them and they was about to be in position to blast the fuck off, the feds came in, and I think what happened shortly after was the incident in Buckhead with Wolf took place.
God bless the
and
dead.
when that situation took place, and we wrote about it, it was a terrible misunderstanding. Those guys were friends and had a great relationship.
Yeah, because Wolf was around.
As usual, with any beefs with us on the streets as men, it's always a broad in the middle. So
Right.
broad got in the middle, and you know, niggas is whoop whoop whoop. And if you didn't, you know, if you knew how generous they were, it'd be like if your lady was out and seen dude, then they'd be like, oh, come on, we got you.
Yeah.
But if somebody just said, hey, Montana, your girl over here with them, cuz your girl.
That's
over
what
here.
it was.
And that's kind of how that went down. It was a misunderstanding. So when the investigation came into play and the murder happened, it hit MTV News. It hit the national news, it hit CNN news. And at that point, that was the beginning of the end, because they had already been trying to tap into them and catch a hold to them, because they was getting, you know, I was getting little tidbits here and there when I would go around. I really kind of stayed out that mix, but
Right.
I'd hear that loads would get lost
Right.
and certain things was happening. So, you know, I remember one time it was like, hey, we got to spend the money.
Yeah.
I mean, they had so much cash on hand, they had
do
to
something with it.
get rid of it and spend it.
Now, one time, out of respect, we spoke on Wolf. Out of respect, if y'all don't know who Wolf is, y'all done seen all these interviews. Y'all done seen all this shit. Wolf was a made man. Wolf was with Diddy. Wolf was next to Diddy. Diddy was up under Wolf in the streets. You know what I'm talking about? Wolf was that kind of nigga. You know what I mean?
Wolf was a nigga
Wolf
to be
was
respected.
that kind of
Period.
nigga.
He didn't have to say nothing. He had
Real
presence about
shit.
him.
He had, you know what I mean? A big nigga. He was a big nigga. You feel me?
He wasn't nobody you wanted to tangle with. I'll
yeah.
put it to you like that. He wasn't
bless
nobody
the
fuck
dead.
with.
God
you know
bless
what I'm
the
saying?
dead,
Good
you know what I
dude.
mean? So just from that, right? We ain't talking about little niggas. Meech ain't get into it with no little nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Wolf was a big nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Wolf had Diddy, Bad Boy was a big thing. Now, BMF was here, right? They was making noise again, but Diddy was Diddy at that point too. We talking about Bad Boy, Biggie Smalls Diddy. You know what I mean? That Diddy, when that shit was building up and all of this happened.
The 90s, Diddy had the whole game in the motherfucking chokehold.
Without a
for
doubt.
y'all, for those that are young and those that may not know and don't know, or let us remind you, he had the complete
Atlanta
game.
too.
He had the game on Smash from New York, Atlanta, Miami. He had the whole
had this
thing
shit on Smash.
Wolf was his right hand man, so you wasn't fucking with him. You wasn't coming at him. There wasn't no type of nothing going on because that shit was getting
Wolf
short.
was a
Dude
rich
wasn't,
gold, my
dude
nigga.
wasn't having it. Period.
Yeah, he
You
was
know
a
what I'm
rich
saying?
gold, my nigga.
Yeah, he was super about that. So.
Right. So bam, right? That happens. The street shit going on. How's this affecting the business, the entertainment side? Because BLEU running it, right?
The BLEU was running the label, but at the time they did a DVD called. DVDs was big back then. They did an interview with a DVD called Smack DVD. Smack came to the house in Cali, and then they did an interview down here in Atlanta, and that's the interview in which they used Meech's testimony in the interview against him in court. Because, you know, a lot of people was reposting video, dudes saying, you know, we got all the cars, all the hoes and everything. Yeah. And that kind of was, you know, probably not the best situation at the time to get on camera. For any of you out there right now, this is off subject. Anybody out there that's in the streets, never have a phone, never have a social media profile, never have none of that shit. And don't flex for niggas because you just ensuring your time is being expedited for your indictment. Because the way a RICO works, it's not about, oh, I caught this money on you, I caught this. Nah, it's a conspiratory law. So it's basically, how'd you get this chain, Montana?
Yeah.
How you paying for that house you living in Alpharetta? How you paying for that car?
And you ain't paying taxes.
Yeah, but we caught this nigga over here with a murder, or this broad over here who got caught up, and she gonna testify, and that's it. You're done. So the one thing I can tell you is when they was around, I was tempted to make a couple of calls because I knew some people, but I stayed out of that because the RICO is a real scary thing, man. It's 20 years minimum mandatory. It's a 99% conviction rate. And I just like my freedom, so I always stayed in my lane with that particular situation. But they became very hot after that incident, like extremely hot.
Did this shut down the music and
it got to a point where the feds were going around to the labels. I know they went to Def Jam. I know they went to Leo personally because I know this firsthand. And they basically told him, if you sign these guys, you fuck with them, we're gonna indict you too. Now, keep in mind, Murder Inc. had just had a big RICO case, probably I think a couple of years before BMF situation. We're going back some time now.
Right.
So the feds were really trying to dial in on hip hop and any type of illicit activities they could. So the case and the heat kind of fucked up the game for them because they were literally about to have their pickings of opportunities to deal. Lior and Def Jam would have signed the Black Mafia Entertainment as a label, but
even though they had Jeezy, they had CTE.
Well, here's the thing: BMF supported Jeezy and they did the push behind him, but Jeezy was always kind of, to me, brilliant because he always separated his brand by saying CTE. Even in the video when I did in Miami when I was doing Donald Goins, he never had on a BMF chain. When I shot those guys with my camera, I cut the heads off. Because I had a feeling that one day the feds was gonna, and I'm a nigga from Harlem, I grew up in the game, I haven't seen it all, but the way they did it was to another, it was disbelief. They had street niggas in disbelief about the shit that was going on.
They had niggas in prison in disbelief.
They had niggas in disbelief.
Amazing.
They had killer shit.
I'm talking about this shit was amazing. So bam, the music, not the cases is coming, right?
Cases is coming.
So the indictments is rolling in, right? People getting busted around them. Did they stop making music? Because Jeezy never stopped, right?
Right.
Jeezy never stopped. But as BMF is catching these cases and BMF Entertainment, it's causing them to suffer, right? Now I saw a BLEU interview, but from your perspective, did these cases derail that? Because they went to Def Jam, Y'all sign them. Blue kind of mentioned that, you know, the feds was working against them to keep them from anybody legitimate that gave them something.
Yeah,
they was gonna cut their head off.
It definitely, the cases definitely slowed up the program with the other side from BMF to BMF Entertainment. It definitely had a cross collateralization. It definitely had an impact. Blue was on his way at that time to be pretty much a big rap star. If he had hit, all he needed was one hit record. He had been in movies. He had already been out there. Everyone knew him from the association, and you know, it kind of just killed the whole vibe, man. To be honest, at that time,
that's crazy.
It killed the vibe, and the heat that came down kind of shut it down, because there was a time that, you know, where there was love in the streets for BMF, but after that situation, it turned to niggas being shook.
Yeah,
niggas didn't want to fuck with niggas. They was shook. They was just straight up scared to fuck around. So it went from being something positive to something kind of negative, and gave them a real bad rap, because one thing about the family is they really were about nonviolence. A lot of people, you know, niggas was balling. Nobody was, like, you guys got to understand that they brought people together that were mortal enemies, opposite ends of crews. They brought cartels together.
You know what's crazy, right? The police don't come till the violence happens. See, the one thing, you can keep hustling, right? You can keep hustling to the point the IRS come in and be like, hey man, y'all got too much money, let us see where you paying taxes, where this a real business at, right? But when shots is fired, when violence happens, now you got the population to deal with, because you got innocent people that could be affected by this shit. That's when the police coming. They not gonna have cowboys out here. Niggas not gonna be gunslingers out here. Anytime crews getting money, get into violence, that crew has to go. They not gonna let niggas do that.
But, you know, truth be told, you know, the local Atlanta police, they actually had a lot of love and affinity for BMF, because they got paid extra money, and they knew when niggas was in the building, it wasn't no problems. So they was getting extra money plus no problems. They had a really good working relationship, and, you know, it ain't no secret that, you know, niggas had a lot of niggas on the payroll, so it was all good for niggas in the city, you know what I'm saying?
That's great.
But that kind of derailed the movement at that time, and it essentially shut them down.
As far as BMF,
it shut down the entertainment side, shut them down. The Billboard took niggas, and it basically spooked the shit out of motherfuckers, because the Billboard was up, the love turned from love to niggas being feared, and it just turned into a whole different energy. And that was the start of the decline for the family at that time. And so what they started doing was popping off different people here and there, turning people into, you know, testifying against each other, and it just kind of went bad. The party shit stopped, the touring stopped, all that shit stopped, and that was like right in the middle of, you know, the release of Blue's project and putting him out there. But what happened was, simultaneously, they did sign Jeezy, but they signed through his own imprint. So he, you know,
he did his thing.
He did his thing. He got on that he was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying?
He did his thing.
Yeah, he's supposed to.
Now, did Blue Project come out?
Blue's project never came out, to my knowledge.
Damn, that's crazy.
No, he had a couple of hot joints on there too.
Now let's fast forward, right? Because I don't want to get into the niggas got busted over here, because all of that's known, right? We on the entertainment thing. This book, this is a product. This is a product of the family. BMF. You feel me? Now, as far as gangs are concerned, as far as the streets are concerned, not many street gangs make it to the point where they become product for commercial use.
Never. Books,
TV shows, all kind of shit, fashion, all kind of shit, right?
No.
What did you have to do to turn that street saga, that street story, into a product? We'll be right back, because this is where the business come in.